Hello my guys and welcome to the channel today. This is I don't even know what take this is now because I forgot to put the microphone on when I actually did it properly the first time a couple of days ago. So when I came to edit it tonight, it turned out I had no sound. So this is me doing it again, but probably I will keep forgetting stuff, which is why I kept redoing it. But we're doing a video on the First Order, in particular Supreme Leader Kylo Ren tonight. The next video is going to be about the rest of the First Order. We're going to talk about his team in particular. As you can see, you level all of these characters to get Supreme Leader Kylo Ren to rank level. So they are useful and they're important. We're not going to talk about the finalizer too much, but of course the finalizer does exist too as a part of this team. Now, Supreme Leader Kylo Ren, I would argue with you, is the best Galactic Legend in the game. We can quibble about it, but he beats Citadel Emperor Palpatine solo. He beats Lord Vader. He beats Jabba the Hutt. He beats Kenobi, who used Night Sisters to his friends. He beats Jedi Master Luke if you have the right speed and setup for your team. I mean, is he going to beat Leia? Probably. He's that good a character, right? How is he so good? His kid is just ridiculously good, right? It's all about Siphon. His brutal assault basic takes Siphon stats from your opponent and builds your own stats up, your base stats. Stasis strike, permanent, non-avoidable stun, brilliant. Can stun characters like Darth Revan, which is excellent. Plus, gets your Siphon stats higher, 40 if you get a critical hit, so 40% per hit. Furious Onslaught, Siphon, and Mastery stats, slightly different. Mastery stats are the stats that you get from your Mastery level specifically rather than your base stats, which is, of course, every single stat that you have. So Furious Onslaught gets you Siphon stats for just the Mastery. It also cleanses all debuffs on your team, gives everyone advantage, and also hits everybody for a pretty big amount. So that's really cool. Now, his ultimate is cool. You are invincible for 1, 2, or 3 turns, depending on what charge you get up to. One of the few characters, is the only character? No, there's Kenobi as well, I suppose. One of the few characters who has levels of charge, because of course he can have up to 3 levels, right? He can have the 60, the 85, or the 100, because you try and get to the 100 if you can, but if it looks bad, go for the 85 or the 60 at that moment. You get charge based on dark side damage that's dealt from your team. Critical hits, you get 5% rather than 2%. It's really cool because you also get double Siphon. Excellent. So your stats are doubled on top of the doubling. Also, because the increased stat effect is doubled. So if it's 200, you get 400 now for whilst you're invincible, and in that kind of situation there. Lead abilities, first bit's kind of, as always, for Galactic Legends. Advantage though for all dark side allies is kind of fun because it means you can drop in people like Darth Malak into your team or Tambo, and you will get other bits based on advantage. Of course, advantage gets given out like candy for the First Order team, so you can constantly get these buffs for the whole of your team if you set it up right. Now, first, the advantage is a weird one. Firstly, the good bit is the very first bit. No stagger, so it's great. No taunt effect, that is also great. And anyone you kill can't be revived. That's always great, right? Like Sudden Whirlwind, like Ultimate Power from Palpatine. It's really nice to have that insta-kill or that kill move that keeps them in the grave, quite frankly. But this bit here is a little bit weird. I'm going to show you, rather than show you arena matches or grand arena matches or whatever, because you could look for all of those if you look online yourself. And I'm sure people have already described them at length over the past 3 years since Kylo Ren came out, how good he is. This one, I'm going to show you how you take advantage of this to fight in PvE, basically. When you lose 10 meter, you get 10% health and protection stacking. If you gain 10 meter, you lose it. Now, this bit's annoying, and this is kind of a little clause they put in there to try and stop Kylo Ren from being too strong. They added it quite early on after he was released because they thought he was going to be a monster. They were right. So Hux, for example, gives you 10 meter, means you're reducing down his own health. Hux pretty much dies after like about 2 or 3 minutes in most fights. Most of Officer can do also give out 10 meter. Stormtrooper, 10 meter. There are some other dark characters, of course, you could include in there, which give you 10 meter, which would be kind of useless inside that team. Now, this bit, though, can be manipulated really easily and really well. What stats would I have him on? I would aim to have him over 550 speed. I would aim to have his offense over 10,000, ideally 11 or 12,000. Why? Fast as possible because you want to take as many turns as possible, plus you want to siphon as often as possible. Offense because you just want him to do as much damage as possible because he is just like a hammer. So you want to hit as hard and as fast as you can. Who is in his team? Kylo Ren Unmasked is your tank. Mod him for pure health because his unique Scarred means he heals 8% health every time he gets hit. So every time you get hit, he'll heal back almost 10% health. So if you stack him for health, he'll heal much more readily and it'll be hard to kill him. Hux, it's your support character. You must have Hux. You cannot not have Hux, quite frankly. It leaves you susceptible to teams that have Terminator trains, like CLS, for example. Hux's unique stops Terminator train teams dead in their tracks, which is great. However, as I said, he does die very easily. He does have True Call, I suppose, support abilities, Oppressive Fire, everyone, Swarm Attack, that's quite nice. And it does say dealing more damage. And usually they deal less damage. His deals more, which is quite a nice touch. Of course, I was displaying all the buffs as well in it. And Devious Scheme, going to come back to that in a second, but gives a bonus turn and resets all cooldowns on the ally when you do it. So that's a really cool one. I'm going to explain how we're going to use that in a second. The other members of the team, the last two, Sith Trooper, you want him to mod him for critical chance because you want him to be charging him Kylo Ren's ultimate as much as possible whenever he does his AoE smash move. And remember, he does that every time someone dies on your team. So when Hux dies, when the tanks die, Sith Trooper is going to go pounding on the other team, charging the ultimate up as quick as possible. The last member, you got a choice. If defense, I usually go first with a Stormtrooper to go double tank to protect Hux and Sith Trooper. On attack, I normally go first order officer because I like to control and have more turns and to work out what I'm going to do. Now, it's important to say that first order officer gives a bonus turn on his middle ability, which is different, remember, to turn meter gain. Bonus turn, sorry, oh no, I get this wrong, right? He gives turn meter, Hux gives the bonus turn. Let me get this right. When you get a bonus turn, it's not a turn meter increase. When it's turn meter increase, like stated like that, then it is a turn meter increase. So you'll lose half that. Pinning shove, of course, resets cooldowns on a critical hit, which is very nice. Oh, sorry, reduces cooldowns, which is very nice. So if you can do it right, you have him modded for as much health as possible, him modded for as much offense and speed, ideally speed, so 550 plus if possible. Him over like 100, 120,000 health would be nice, that kind of amount. Him critical chance, damage as much as possible, critical chance ideally, because you just want to, it's not about doing the damage, it's about just actually hitting the critical hits, because that's all you need to get the ultimate charge. And then the last two, Hux and Officer, and this is really important, what you want to do is have Officer 1 speed faster than Hux. So the ideal scenario is Kylo Ren goes first in your team. You do Stasis Strike, you stun someone on their team. Big hit. They might take your turn next to find the Galactic Legend, whatever, no one cares. Then you want Officer to take a turn, and he uses a middle ability. You pass the turn back to Kylo Ren. Kylo Ren now does his AoE. So he siphons the guy who's got stun, plus he does an AoE with advantage and offense up thanks to First Order Officer. Great. Then Hux, because he's got 1 speed less, will go next. Hux then does his special, gives it to him back to Kylo Ren again, resets Kylo's cooldowns, which means Kylo can do his AoE again with advantage again and offense up still. Which means in the first 3 turns, you can smash that guy you stunned almost into the grave straight up, plus you've done AoE damage twice with advantage and offense up, which is wonderful. So ideally, Kylo Ren, First Order Officer, Hux, and then Kylo Ren Unmasked health, Sith Trooper critical chance, roughly on those lines. Okay, so as you can tell from the fact that it is light now and I'm wearing different clothes, this is the next day. And it's because this bit took me so long to record, I was like, you know what, I'm just going to do the voiceover and title the video tomorrow morning after I get some rest. So, in the challenge, which is the Sith challenge, you can use First Order or Sith characters together against the Jedi. Supreme Leader Kylo Ren makes this incredibly easy. You won't restart with Supreme Leader Kylo Ren, but you will do it trivially. It does take a while, and I'm just going to show you some little cliff notes. We're going to go the whole thing. So, Supreme Leader Kylo Ren's unique, gives you health and protection, stacking every time you get your turn reduced. Kylo Ren Unmasked heals every time he gets hit for, I think it's 8% of his health. So, you can always start to do the maths here. If Kylo Ren Unmasked under Supreme Leader Kylo Ren's unique starts getting his max health reduced down, so his turn reduced down every single time they attack, his health goes up. And if his health goes up, it means he'll heal more to the point where his healing will override the attacks because his max health will be so big that their hits won't even do a thing. And that basically is what you can work out using this. Basically, you take it, Leader Kylo Ren, Kylo Ren a must, and 3 chumps. It doesn't matter who you take in, to be honest. I take in these guys because they're highest level one, but whatever. Dallas Revan's kind of helpful initially because he puts fear on them, so you can kind of control who's attacking at which times initially. But if we just let's see, we'll play. Let's run it forward a little bit. Okay, so you can see already. So this is the first round. You can see, and every time they go for, let me spend pounds. It's the right time. It's every time the 2 yellow lightsabered guy in the back row. No, it's not that attack. Every time he goes for his AOE attack, that is a 10-meter reduction move, and that is what causes Kylo Ren's. There you go, that one there. And you can see his protection went up, and that's because his protection went up by 10% too. So because it was very small, it increased by 10%. So every single time they're doing those reductions, he is getting harder. Now, if we can try and let me see if I can actually pause this. Just go back a bit to a bit. This way the technical bit. There you go. So he just got hit there. This is earlier in the fight. He's hit for, and he heals back 12,500. So he's got 125,000 health basically because we say it's about 10%. It's not exactly 10%. We'll say 10% to make my maths easy because I'm not going to be able to do it otherwise. And as you roll through the fight, let's just roll through to maybe the next phase. Let's try and count where he's been. There you go. You saw that there, hopefully. That was 29,000. Now, so by the time we get to round 3, he's now hitting for 29,000 health, which means he's now over 290,000 health. He started at 125. And we can go further. Basically, we've got this on auto because I was just, And this round here in particular with Anakin is beautiful because Rex's basic removes 10 meter whenever he connects, right? And he hits the reduction pretty common. It's pretty often, so I should say. Let me see if I can catch one more. So he's hitting up for 69,000. Yay! Also, of course, Kylo Ren. Rex's Rexalite, if you will, doesn't actually do an awful lot of damage, right? Because health-based attacks and the like don't really do anything to Leader Kylo Ren or Kylo Ren and Master or normal Kylo Ren. And you see that his protection coming out 70-something thousand, 76,000. Every time Rex takes a turn, he is just adding more. I dropped the hat finally, so I did do some damage there. He's doing more and more health healing basically every single time. You can roll through a little bit further this round in particular. Let's go. You can just see we do lose Darth Revan because of the AoEs, obviously from what's his face. From Anakin there. Now you can see that. Let's see if I pause that. Now he's hitting for 386,000. So this is just from Rex. We've gone from 69,000 at the start of this round. We're already at 386,000. So now you can do the maths, but he's close to 4 million health now, which you might imagine is starting to be a little bit unkillable pretty quickly, right? And and we can roll all the way through. You go through the Rex round, each round. You can watch. I mean, I record the whole thing because I'm some kind of masochistic person. But if you watch him here on the hit, and this time, didn't quite catch it right. Let me try again for the next one. Oop, he's kind of attacking. Yeah, you can see that 4 million health he's hitting for. Now you can do the maths yourself, but 10% roughly when his health is 4 million, you can have some idea of how thick your Kylo Ren is at that point. Basically unkillable. And of course, and you can see his protection has gone massively back because of course 10% protection increase every single time as well. Kylo Ren specials do give you protection back. And every time, and you can just see it here really clearly, every time they attack him, he counterattacks, which charges all Serena Kylo Ren's ultimate charge, which means basically from that round onwards, you can pretty much be rolling through ultimates every single few seconds. The only issue I had, the reason why I went slow is because in this round, I had to actually take control a little bit because for some reason Kylo Ren's AI was too stupid. He should have gone for Barriss first, and Sabrina Kylo Ren was just going the AoE constantly. He was constantly spamming that rather than going for the poke and stabbing Barriss in the head. You just got to go for Barriss and get it done. And if you roll it forwards, you go through that round eventually, and then you get to this round, and again you just got to go for the right person first. Go for Yoda first because Yoda is the one who puts foresight up, which means you miss your AoEs constantly if that's the case. So you want to just stab him and kill him pretty quick. And again, this telling you basically max. It tops out at 4 million. You can't. The game just says no. You're fine. You're maxed out right at this point. And you can roll even further forward, so you can see they do eventually go all the way through. This last bit actually only takes a few seconds, because once you get to here, Kylo Ren, and he's got his stacks built up and his ultimate, even though these are insanely high level guys, he just kicks them in the face. And it's really easy at this point to just boop, victory is ours. There you go. So we did actually do it. You do only get 1 star for it though, of course, because all the rest of your team die. But it is a very trivially easy way to do it, because it was on auto most of the time. I was playing Fortnite for about half of it until I realized that Kylo Ren couldn't, for some reason, attack Barris. What's up with that? Okay, so that's just some cliff notes on Spooner Kylo Ren and his team in particular. You can watch many battles of him in GAC and territory wars, territory battles doing his thing. That's why I did the challenge instead, because it's a little bit more fun, a bit more random, a bit of a manipulation if it's unique. But he can beat pretty much any team, and I will, if people are interested, just do videos specifically of him beating Kenobi, him beating. You can beat Jedi Master Luke, it's a little hard, but you can beat Jedi Master Luke if you set it up right. Beating Rey, beating Jabba, beating Darth. Lord Vader, not Darth Vader. You can beat Darth Vader anyway, of course, too. And of course, he does beat Supreme Sith Eternal Emperor Palpatine solo, right? So any GL that can solo another GL is always a fun time. So I can do these videos if people really want to, for me to show you how you make up the teams and how you should change the mods for a couple of them, ideally. But I'll be back next week with the rest of the First Order, so Captain Phasma's team, and the rest of the GAC crew that's left over. Like, subscribe, let me know in the comments if you want to see anything in particular, and as always, have a great day, guys.